Right. Um, all right, so I'm here with Luke. He generally does extremely well at these. Top three every time. One or two is likely.
Typically do all right.
Yeah. So we want to get his perspective on how to prepare, things to look out for during the meets, and how to do better. His setup, and whatever little tidbits you have.
Okay.
So go ahead and start us off. Just a little bit about you, how you train, and what you do to prepare for these events.
So, I've been shooting for almost my whole life. I think I started about 4 years old. I really got into competition shooting when I was 17 or so. And then I went to Oklahoma State University, and that's where I really started getting into competition shooting, started shooting a lot of USPSA matches. And that's how my friends started dragging me into these running guns. I did my first running gun in October of 2021. And since then, I've done a whole lot. I've traveled all over the U.S. going to these. It's been pretty cool. Starting out, I think the biggest thing for me was just like, you got to know that it's not always going to be like the most fun. Like, it's a fun event, but there are parts of it that you're gonna challenge yourself the whole time running. Pretty typical that you will be in some pain at some point.
Yeah.
I kind of have bad knees, and so I've dealt with that a lot. Just running through it. One thing I always tell myself when I'm running and starting to feel pain is just like mind over body. Like, I know that my mind is stronger than my body, and so I'm going to be able to push through this stuff and just keep chugging along. Starting like getting ready for the first run and gun, it's a lot. I wish when I had started, I kind of knew what to expect as far as like round counts and setups and what to expect shooting stages. It's I shot a lot. I shoot a lot of USPSA as practice for fun, and then kind of there started. You kind of use that as a basis almost, if that makes sense. Like, it's really good pistol shooting. You get fast shooting USPSA. You understand like how to set up stage, like how to stage plan, and also how to stay safe while you're shooting. It's very important to stay safe while you're shooting. It's very easy to get in trouble at these events for unsafe firearm handling or flagging yourself or someone else like that. It's never.
I would say it's absolutely worth understanding the manipulation of your weapon.
Is there any breakfast left over?
You should be comfortable with being able to work it. There shouldn't be any questions about like, where is that button or
Yeah, knowing how your gear functions, so knowing how your pistol functions, knowing how your rifle functions, knowing how to easily lock the bolt back, lock the slide back on both of them, knowing how to clear malfunctions, change magazines. It's all very, very important. I see it a lot. I RO at a lot of events also. I mean, I'm ROing here today. I see it a lot where people, they know how to shoot and they can shoot okay, but they don't necessarily know how to manipulate their weapons the best, and it makes it a lot harder for them. It's a lot harder than it could be for them if they just practice, just dry, just, pulling the magazine out, putting a new one in, knowing where your reloads are.
And it slows you down too, because there's a lot of times where you got to transition between different rifle and pistol. We saw that a lot today.
Yeah, there was, I think,
a lot today.
Almost every stage, except for stage 1, had both rifle and pistol. And you had to have it on you, and you had to transition from them. So it's
amazing how much the 5-10 seconds adds up.
Yeah,
really fast.
And knowing how to get your own equipment out of your way in those situations is pretty key too. Knowing how to throw your rifle down so you're not hitting yourself in the jump or hitting your other gear, knocking stuff loose. It's very important. Making sure your optics are zeroed is very, very important. I've seen it a ton of times where people every event, where they think their optics, or their rifle optics and their pistol optics are
close enough.
They're good enough.
Yeah.
And then they go out and try to shoot gongs at 20 yards that are this size, and they can't hit them.
Makes it even worse when the target's at 400, 500, 600 yards.
Yeah.
Good luck.
Yeah. Like my good buddy Lance, he's been to, there's like 3 events in a row where he didn't have his stuff 100% zeroed, and it screwed him every single time because he wasn't ready with his equipment. It really was not good.
That's really basic, though, and I think it's really important that a lot of people don't do it. Is understanding the weapon, just make sure it's zero, and get out there and get some practice.
Definitely.
For practice, you said you do a lot of competitions. What would you say about someone that just has access to maybe a flat range?
Dude,
What would you?
that's a great start. I like to use like I like T-Rex arms a lot, and so I like to use some of their drills. They've got some really good paper targets. Like if they have a warm-up target, I really like it a lot. I typically I go out shooting, practicing at least once a week. So like me and my friends have a date every week. We go out and practice, and then if I fit another one in a week, I'm gonna go shoot again. Every time we try to structure it so that we're not just shooting at craft, where we have specific things we're working on, whether it's drawing from the holster, moving on the clock, or transitioning targets or transitioning between rifle and pistol. We tend to increase the difficulty for ourselves so that it's hard for us, so we're getting better that way. So like we'll have small targets at long distances, and that really it really helps you out in the long run. Being able to hit small targets, and being accurate with your gear is very important. With your rifle and pistol, we see a lot where they can't hit targets. They don't have like one thing I've noticed too is making sure you have good ammo. People come with like steel case and just junk ball, and their guns are shooting 4 MOA, and sometimes the targets are half that size. And so the shooter could be doing everything right, but their ammo's messing them up, and they're not able to hit where they're supposed to be hitting.
So you shoot 9mm and 5.56.
Correct.
So what ammo do you use on each?
I've really been liking the Spear Lawman 124 grain for my pistol. It's good, reliable ammo. It's fairly hot, so I'm not going to have any malfunctions. Whether it's like too low power factor or something like that. And then for 5.56, I've switched to the AAC 77 grain. I mean, it's not the nicest ammo for sure, but it's 55 cents a round, and it's good enough. It's typically like between 3/4 and 1.5 MOA, which is typically plenty for these types of events. It's pretty consistent, and it's pretty accurate, and it's pretty fast too. So have less drop at distance, which is helpful.
Yes.
And then training with that ammo and sticking with it, confirming your zero often, every couple weeks. Like I go back every couple weeks and check my zero just to make sure that, at events I treat everything like tools. So stuff gets bumped around and banged on stuff and dropped on the ground, and stuff moves when that happens. So making sure that your equipment is always zeroed.
Now, you said one thing about that, sticking with your ammo. Don't come with a whole bunch of mixed ammo and expect to be able to hit all your stuff.
Yeah.
Each brand has different velocities, and you're just going to have a little bit of luck with each shot if you do it, different ammo.
Yes. Staying consistent with your ammo at competitions it'll set you up for success in the long run.
Practice with different ammo. That's fine.
That's fine. Yeah.
Yeah. Don't compete with different ammo.
No. Yeah. Pick one ammo and shoot that for the whole match, and then make sure it's zero beforehand. Admitting gear before you start shooting a stage is also very, very important. So knowing where
explain yourself.
Knowing where your reload is at for like your pistol and your rifle, and then having enough ammo on your belt. In the past, I have put empty mags like in my pouch, and then I go to reload and I have an empty magazine. And then I have to like throw my backpack off or grab a different mag out of my chest rig, and it adds a lot of time on the clock, and it's very like it's an unnecessary event that you could have prevented.
Yeah, and you could have a rough guess on how much ammo you're going to need before you ever shoot that stage, because you're going to get a stage brief as you approach it.
Yep.
You didn't know 5 minutes ago what you're going to do, but now you do.
Yeah.
And so, okay, I'm probably going to need 2 rifle mags and 1 pistol mag. All right, make sure they are ready, whether it's your chest rig or your belt or something where they're close, accessible. You put them in a pocket.
Yeah. Typically, I will start, like if the rifle is going to be unloaded, I'll have a magazine in my pocket, and that way I have my reload on my hip. That way I know, like, this is my first mag, and then this is my second mag. And I always make sure I have at least 1 reload for each piece of equipment, if not more than that, if I need to have more than that.
So your setup Do you want to go, or was there anything else you thought was really important to address?
Yeah, having a good pistol holster is very important.
Yeah. I'm glad you stopped on that. That's good.
I really like the Safariland 6390 RDF series. It's a really good retention holster. Having a good retention holster is important. Something that's going to cover your optic too, so you're crawling around on the ground or in the mud or something like that. That holster will protect your optic for you, so you don't have to worry as much about getting mud all up in your optic and messing stuff up. Clear or obstructing your view, making it more unnecessarily hard for you than it needs to be already. These events are hard enough as it is. You don't need to increase the difficulty.
No.
And make sure your gun fits the holster too. At the last event I went to, someone had a 60, like the Safariland, just like you're supposed to, or you should. And he had an optic that wasn't quite compatible with it. So even though he had the right holster for his pistol and all that stuff, his pistol still was sticking out of the holster, and you could actually still see the trigger, like even when it was in the holster. It wasn't locked in or anything. It was kind of just held in place. It wasn't good.
Yeah, depending on where the slide is drilled, and especially if you have a large one, like a large optic, like the Holosun Comp and the Trichcon
SRO or the RMR HD.
Okay. Yeah, those are a little bit more finicky. I love those optics. I recommend those optics, but they're a little finicky.
Yeah.
Make sure that you might need to Dremel out your, part of your holster before you use it. So yeah,
making sure your equipment is functional in working order before an event, not on the clock, is the way to go.
Yep.
Make sure that another thing is make sure your magazine is fully inserted in your firearm. I have seen it more times than I can count where people, they think they have a magazine in, they shove it in and it stays, and then they go to rack the bolt or rack the slide or whatever, and the magazine goes straight down. And then they'll grab another mag and do the same exact thing. I've watched the same person do it 3 or 4 times in a row. Like, make sure that your magazine is fully inserted into your firearm. And another thing, I actually have seen it where people will over insert rifle mags, and that it caused a lot of issues for him. So making sure your equipment can't do that too is helpful.
And it makes it a lot harder when you're on the clock.
Yeah, it does.
It's one thing just to calmly do it whenever there's no timer running and no one's watching, but when you're on the clock and you're trying to do well, that stress adds up quick, and those little errors and not practicing, not verifying, it happens.
Yeah. Can't think of anything else as far as like tips and tricks.
Quick for shoes.
Yeah.
What do you wear for shoes?
I've really been liking the I have a set of Saucony Peregrine Trail Runners. I like them a lot. For socks, I always make sure to have a good set of socks. I'm a huge fan of the Darn Tough socks. I've ran them at many events, and I think they're the best socks, hands down. They typically dry pretty quickly, keep your feet. They wick away the moisture if you're sweating. Don't get blisters in them. Super, super durable. I've never worn holes in them. It's been great.
Trail shoes almost universally, or
yeah,
you pick whichever one you like. I like the Hoka,
yep.
Hoka, something like that.
The Hoka 1-1s are pretty good.
And then shoes that are socks that can handle getting wet.
Wet and sweaty and muddy.
Tons of your feet are going to get wet.
Yeah, I think there was water that came up to probably mid shin on me, crossing some streams and other stuff.
And you said you wear pants all the time, so nice light pants.
Yeah, I have lightweight hiking pants that I wear all the time. I also always I like these sun shirts a lot. I know Paxton does too. I mean, having your arms covered helps kind of keep, if there's sticks or other stuff in the way, it's going to help so you don't get cut up as much. But then always wearing long pants. I am a big fan of the Prana hiking pants. I've ran them at a lot of events, and they always hold up. I haven't worn them out or anything else like that. I like the slimmer fitting too, so it's not a bunch of extra material.
Yep.
They're super lightweight and they dry very quickly. It's nice to have.
Jumping into equipment. All right.
So this is my rifle. It's a 14.5 home build. I'm a huge fan of the LMT Mars lowers. It's really nice because you can very easily lock the bolt back. You just push your finger down on here and it locks it back. Also super easy to release. You don't having to hit the side of the rifle or anything else like that. It's just a little trick that I like. Got an LWRC ultra compact stock I like a lot. It's nice and light. It's got QDs on the back, which is all that I pretty much need for. I run a A5 buffer system. Then I've got a Driven Armsco Shadow crossover grip. This is an awesome pistol grip. Badger safety. These are like my favorite safeties. Geisley SSAE trigger. I've got an HRF Concepts magwell. Just a random upper receiver BCM charging handle. I've actually got a titanium bolt carrier group by Rubber City Armory. It helps cut down on weight, which is nice. Also, dirt and carbon just slide right off of it. It has nothing sticks to it, which is nice. I've got a Criterion Core 14.5-inch barrel with superlative arms, adjustable gas block, so I can play with the gas for the A5 system and the titanium carrier, so it's pretty soft shooting.
Do you fit and weld? Give the ATS?
Yeah, so this is a pin and welded SJC Titan muzzle brake. It's one of the most effective brakes out there. ROs tend to hate it because it's extremely loud.
It's loud. I heard it,
but it works great.
And it is pretty common to see the 14.5 pin and weld, or people will do the FDR. In addition, a lot of people run the 16-inch, and they are just fine. You're nitpicking at that point on which one you want to go to.
Yeah, it's a good balance of velocity and length and size and weight. It's both of the 14.5 and a 16 will suit you very well. I run a Leupold Mark V HD scope, 3.6 to 18 with tremor theoretical. It's without a question my favorite scope.
So you got a lot more magnification than most people.
Yeah, I do.
I watched them today at an event where a lot of people are DNFing multiple stages. You cleared it.
Not being able to see targets was tricky for everyone today.
And I've slowly become more and more of a fan of a little bit more magnification is good.
Yeah.
I'm personally going to be looking for my next optic closer to this. I don't know if that's the one or not.
They're a little spendy, but I think they're worth it.
That's a little out of my price range, I think. Yeah. But that concept is really good. A 1 to 8's wonderful, but you might find yourself on a day like today. It was lacking.
Yeah.
8 was not enough on some stages. And having, what's it go up to? What'd you say?
18.
18. Yeah.
I saw people shooting with ACOGs today, and they were struggling. LPVOs were struggling because of how small and like dark the targets were. It was tricky.
And red dots did not keep.
No, they didn't. I run a aimpoint T2 as an offset dot in the Badger C1 mount. I like this mount because it's all in one, so I'm able to have the offset dot just mounted straight to the scope mount. Haven't had any issues with losing zero or anything like that.
How often do you actually use your offset?
I did not use it today. There was not targets that were very close. Typically, if there's stuff under 100 yards, I will use my dot because it's usually just a little bit faster than using the scope. I like the offset more than the top dot personally. I like being able to get a good cheek weld on my rifle. So when I'm aiming or whatever, I'm down on it instead of up here where I'm not on it. It makes it harder for me. I found I'm definitely not as fast without it.
I found the offset with is a lot. There's lots of you can train to anything. I don't want to make it sound like you can't train to it, but that significant offset it does add some difficulty. And unfortunately, I shoot a rifle left-handed, so that if I got to cant it, I'm canting that brass right into my bicep, and I'm burning myself. So
yeah. One thing that actually is good to do too is to once you have a setup, just stick with it. Don't change your stuff around all the time. I mean, little changes. I mean, if you're changing a trigger or something, that's not a big deal. But like going from one rifle to another rifle, changing optic setups from a LPVO to an ACOG to a this or something like that. Pick one thing and just kind of get good with it. I found it to be a lot more effective than switching all the time.
Yeah, I would rather know how to use my equipment well than have the perfect equipment.
Yeah, without it.
And a lot of people keep coming in with a new thing every time. They never quite adjusted or trained to what they have.
Yep.
And you're just going to constantly be chasing yourself where it's like, oh, well, the gear didn't do this. Well, no, it maybe not, but it probably was more on you, just not being used to the gear.
I've got this run and gun tactics run and gun bag. I like it a lot. I'm able to put it on whatever, and it's a lot more stable than just having a bare handguard would be. Pretty light too, which is nice. And then I've got a Harris bipod on a QD. The need to go into something that can easily take it off, which has been very helpful in the past.
I would have hated on that until today. That came in handy on shoe stages a lot. I almost think you kind of had to have something along those lines in order to be able to even pass it.
Yeah, it was very. I used it a bunch today, and I'm glad I had it, to say the least. My whole setup weighs right around 9 pounds. With everything, which it's a little heavy, but it's not too bad. I've run heavier rifles in the past and do just fine with them.
Be stronger.
Yeah. My belt setup, I've got an S-Tac enhanced shooter's belt. It's got the Tegris on the inside, which I really like. I like the rigidity. It's a lot harder to twist. It's not as floppy.
I have the same one.
Yeah, there's no molly on the outside, so it's slick. I just use this Velcro one wrap for everything, and it works great. Safariland holster, like I said, and then I've got a M&P M2.0. Got a little bit of mods on it, ported, cut for a dot, Apex trigger, and that's it. I've got the Loophole Delta Point Pro. I like it a lot. I've been running this dot for, I don't know, 5 years or something like that. I've got this, who makes it? Axel True North Concepts makes this holster adapter. It's super rigid, which I like. It doesn't have as much flex as like Safariland would. And then I've got a Core Performance pad on the back, it really helps save my legs. I used to always get bruises all over my legs from my pistol hitting the side, so it helps with that a lot.
I haven't had that problem, but I like the pad. So.
Yeah, I have some S-Tac angled mag pouches. I got a magnet on the front if I ever want to like drop a mag and put it here instead of like dropping it on the ground. It's been useful in the past, being able to add them to your magazines, so you're not having to run back down the course to go get a magazine after a stage is over. And then just a Run and Gun Solutions rifle mag carrier. Pretty simple. And then I typically run with a backpack instead of a chest rig. I ran a chest rig for a while, and it served me all right. But lately, the past 6 months or so, I've switched to a backpack, and it's a lot easier. I don't have stuff on my chest. It's easier to go prone, or I'm breathing better when I'm running, so it's been helpful. Typically, what I'll do is I'll have like pistol mags in one pouch, and then I'll have rifle mags in another, so I'm not mixing them up. This is the Run and Gun Solutions rag pack. It's the same one that packs around. Yep. And you're able to like stuff magazines in here and organize them, which is nice. You're not flopping around a bunch. And then same thing for the rifle.
I love the owners too.
Yeah,
the owners they're good people.
They're awesome. I've got some Kydex inserts in here, so it keeps my mags nice. And then I typically will have like a shooting bag also. It's been useful in stages in the past. Being able to set your rifle on something that's not a barricade or something else like that. I don't always use it, but it's a good piece of kit to have. Finding a lightweight one is nice, so you're not dragging around a 10-pound bag all the time. Today was a very ammo intense match. I ran more magazines than I think I ever have.
All right, so I got a kind of a curveball question. So you have a very nice setup, and it's nice for people to know what a top run and gun performer is going to go out there and use. What about someone that competently can use their Palmetto State Armory?
Dude, go for it. Like, you don't have to have the nicest equipment to win or even compete. It helps, but knowing your equipment and knowing how to use it is way more important than having the most expensive rifle with the most expensive optic and all that other stuff. Just being effective with the equipment you have is what's more important, for sure.
Yeah.
People always have PSAs, and they usually do just fine with them. It's the shooter more than the equipment.
Yeah, it's absolutely the shooter. So. The shooter and understanding their equipment too. I've seen very different setups, and you know how to use your setup, and that effectiveness just can't be beat. And trying to nitpick over the perfect one, or this is the one that my favorite person on a movie uses, or whatever. Like, forget that.
No.
Get the one that works for you. And if you're wondering if you should use, you'll know after a few run and guns. Okay, I do need this.
Might even be one. Like,
yeah, that's true. That's true. It's
yeah,
I probably should swap this out.
Yeah, today we saw a guy that was running a red dot, and he knew that after stage 1 he was running the wrong equipment for
LPBOs or MPBOs or
yeah.
They're the
High beam magnification is very, very. You don't need to have as much as I have, but it's what I run and
work today
works pretty good. So,
what other parting pieces of information?
Get out there and train and run and stay in shape.
Yeah, actually, gee whiz, how much do you run? Because you always have a really solid run time.
I run a lot less than I should. I honestly probably run like once a week. It's not.
And then how far do you run?
Good.
What do you do?
A couple miles, 2 or 3 miles. I'm going to start. I've been very busy the past month or so I've been out of it. But I'm going to start running more again and getting back in the gym so I'm able to increase my cardio, so I'm able to run faster and longer distances without issues. I had some issues today with my knees locking up on I had to walk like at the last 2.5 miles. So.
Yeah, I'm really glad you said about being busy. And talking about injuries, I often hear people say something about like, oh, you need to do something first, or I need. A lot of people have kids. A lot of people have something with their knees or their backs, or very active people generally come out and do this stuff. And we all have injuries. Come out and do it. You will learn how to work through it, how to compensate, and maybe you're not the fastest person. Maybe there's a stage where you didn't get to do the one thing. Don't worry about it. Just get out and get involved. That's the hardest part. It's getting started.
Yeah, come out and have fun. Come shoot. Like it's more about. I think it's more about I have a lot more fun with the camaraderie, meeting the people, talking to people, meeting 100%. Friends than competing. It's just like the culture around Run and Gun is a very special one, and it's great. Everyone is always willing to help you if you have any issues with stuff. They're like, oh man, you need this tool. Here, go for it. Or try my rifle. You can check it out. Look at my scope. All this kind of stuff. People are very friendly. You don't expect to come out at your first one and kick ass, because it's pretty hard to do. Just come out and have fun. Don't expect to win every time.
Kind of reminds me of a golf culture where they're going to talk about you and give you a bunch of crap, but also be right there to help you and make you better. So it's a really fun environment.
It is, for sure.
I don't have anything else for the interview. Any parting words?
Get out and train.
Okay.
That's it.
Thanks, Ben.
Yeah.